We're back. We survived the Roanoke River trip, and we're still married. Close quarters, but that's the way we like it. So, what we're doing for this video is just a follow up on what went right and what went wrong. First thing is, we got maybe 50 miles from home, and we both noticed a weird vibration, either coming from the van or the trailer of the boat. Well, come to find out, a grease seal had failed. But we made it home fine, no issues there. But we had pulled that little boat approximately 1,300 miles. There's more videos to come because we went all the way down to Morehead City. So right now we'll finish up the Roanoke River series. There's some fixes. Again, we'll point out what went wrong and what went right, and wrap this series up. So what went right? The food, perfect. The cooking, perfect. No complaints there. Water wasn't a problem. Weight, oh, wait a minute. We're doing what went right, right?
The company.
Yeah, yeah, the company. Yeah. Trailering wasn't a problem. The way we lashed the sail down, the mast down, wasn't a problem. We didn't notice any chafe on anything. Of course, the minivan did excellent. I'm losing more and more faith in Chrysler as the new models come out, but I've always had a Chrysler van, and for camping in it, pulling, 300 horsepower plus, 3,000 pound payload, it's not a bad vehicle for the price. So that being said, a lot went right. The company we were with, amazing. Again, we want to thank Tom. We won't use his last name out of privacy concerns. Tom and his wife and group of friends there, allowing us to come with them. And Bob Collin. Bob, you built an amazing boat. I don't want to say you gave it to me, but you didn't miss it by much. And that won't go unappreciated. So, again, what went right? Just about everything. Now, what went wrong? Again, 50 miles away from home, Amanda and I noticed a little bit of a vibration in the trailer. We thought maybe it was the van, the tire, belt, whatever. No, it was the trailer. So we did a quick repair video on repacking trailer bearings, wheel bearings. So we'll post that here after our intro video. Now, what else went wrong? When she listed under sale, she took on water. So, you hear me complain time and time again. I hate drilling a hole in a boat, right? But you have to if you're going to put a bilge in. So I made the exit of the bilge as high as I could because we had some concerns with the seat in the cockpit hitting the drain. So I made it as high as I could, but it still wasn't high enough. Thinking that this automatic bilge pump had a check valve in it. It did not. So in one of the shorts that I did, I mentioned that this was a really good submersible automatic bilge pump for the price. It's not. By the time you add the check valve, which was I think $28, you're back up to about $110 for what you can buy that's complete. So we noticed that we were feeding water into the cockpit when we were, under sail pretty heavily listing to starboard, and that concerned us. But it wasn't anything, too awful bad. It didn't flood any of our supplies or our cooking gear. Yeah, it just got our feet wet from time to time. So we did a video on that, the video on the fix for the bearings, and that wraps it up for the Roanoke series. Now, moving right along. What are we doing next? Well, we're going to go back approximately 250, 280 years with acrimony. Now, we introduced acrimony to you guys in some videos past. You may want to check those out. She's a wooden boat that came from Michigan, and we're going to make her a period 18th century sailing vessel, if we can. I've never done that before. But the cannons that we're building, the swivel gun that we're building, we all hope to have all this done by the last of July, where we will travel to Lake Oneida, near Syracuse, between Syracuse and Utica, New York, and have a pirate festival, a period correct pirate festival. So we're doing everything from making tarred hats, hand sewing 18th century clothing, early 18th century clothing, and preparing a wooden boat. So the next series of videos will not be entirely historical, but the majority of them will be historical. So stay tuned. We do have a Hatteras sailing trip coming up in the last weeks of June, which we'll be taking the boys. That boat will be the boat that we profiled in the retrofit before we went to Roanoke, or the Roanoke River Trail. And that's swordfish. So there's a few mods I want to do to swordfish, some really cool things we picked up for swordfish at some of the chandleries through Morehead City and the Outer Banks. And we're going to install those and make how-to videos as we do that. So stay tuned and get ready to step back 250 years. If we can pull it off.
Of course we can.
Yeah, of course we can. So, hey, we may turn a boat over and lose a $3,000 cannon, but hey, that's part of the adventure. So, hey, thanks for staying with us. Again, these video series are more for us. We want to chronicle the silliness that we do, the fun we have with our boys as they grow. We're letting you into our homes. So, again, I ask that you be respectful, and all comments are welcome. Point out things that I'm making mistakes on. Some of you have, and that's really appreciated. That really helps me out, become a better sailor and a better boat restorer. Not a boat builder. I don't think I'll ever get to that level. But as far as fixing the boats and stuff, that's what I love to do, and that's what we'll continue to do. We'll chronicle those efforts and those adventures. And if you want to come along, great. And if we're just boring you to death, well, I'm sure there's somebody in the Caribbean that's sailing around topless that might interest you more. But for this channel, it's just watching a family of 6, have fun, enjoy nature, and enjoy sailing. So thanks for staying tuned, and hopefully our videos get better and we don't bore as much. Take care of yourself. So this should solve the problem of when we were taking on water when listing. Again, I thought that bilge pump would have had a check valve in it, but it did not. So the water was coming back through the exit port there and through the hose back into the bilge pump, causing it to leak into the cockpit. So we'll install this and see that should correct the problem. So we want to make sure we install this with the arrow pointing in the proper direction. When I blew on this, of course you can blow air this way, but I turned it around and tried to blow air back through it and it sealed off immediately. So cool product. At least it seems to be airtight, but it's a well product. Never seen that brand before, but we found this in a little chandlery there in Oriental. So we'll see if it works. Our deck paint held up really well. It stayed wet most of the trip and it didn't blister. That's what I say. I can't stress enough how much I like Rust-Oleum paint. As weird as it sounds. So we've got one spot there that chipped, but I think that's because I kept beating the thunder out of it with the water tank. So we'll get this cleaned up and do some touch-up paint before we tarp her and put her in the garage. So it looks like we'll have the room. It's going to fight with me a little bit, so I think I'm going to take it completely off, and then we'll heat it with the heat gun. Cut it, heat it, and install it. I may have to go to a little bit larger piece of hose. I'm not sure yet. Okay, let's go fit it to the boat. So before I install this back on the boat, it'd probably be a good idea to go ahead and heat it up, make it more pliable, because I've got to do some pretty tight bends. So I'm hoping it will bend. If not, I'll just add more hose and loop it around. So I'll double check to make sure the arrow is in the right direction, which it looks like to me that it is. Put the hose clamps back on it, the ever disappearing magical hose clamps. So, okay. Don't you love it when you can't find your stuff? It's like it has a mind of its own. Well, let's dry fit this, so to speak, make sure there's no crimping or anything in the hose. No, that'll work. Yeah, getting it hot helped. So, okay, well, while I go run down a hose clamp. There it is. Good deal. Okay, so put this on the bottom to where we can get to it. Hook up our sump first with 2 hands. It's the only thing about making them pliable with heat is it makes it a little harder to get them back on after you've shaped and formed them. Okay, so this goes here. Like so. Okay, I'm happy with that. We'll tighten everything down and call this job finished. So now I won't have to bail out water so much, but we're double checking to make sure the arrow is pointing in the out direction, which it is, and should be good to go.